Okay, so hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Can you believe that this is the second time I'm shooting this because the first time I forgot to turn the audio on? The microphone. Yeah. Okay, so welcome back to the Christmas episodes. This is going to be the fourth and final Christmas episode for this Christmas at least, because we're a little way past Christmas and we just gotta start with New Year's. Maybe I can shoot some Christmas episodes again, not at Christmas time, but for the Christmas special. This is going to be the fourth and final one. Before we go on to the case, we are actually, today, I'm going to make the three disclaimers that I usually make. The first one is that I mean no disrespect to anyone that I mentioned in the video, victims, families, suspects, people convicted in the cases. I just do it to honor the victims' memories, and that is it. I mean no disrespect to absolutely anyone. The second is that I may use some audio, video, or images, and I mean no copyright infringement either. If I'm just using them, I do it for educational purposes and to share this video with you guys, and it has nothing to do with trying to break any laws. And the third and last one is that all information I've taken it off the internet, and they may be wrong, or I may misinterpret something that I read on the internet. I'm not a part of any active or inactive investigation. I'm not an investigator per se. I'm just taking off the internet and media sources, so they could be wrong. So if anything that you see is incorrect, please do it, comment and correct it in the comments below. Send me an email or contact me through my social media. Okay, and now we can actually go on to talk about the case. So the video that I'm going to make today is about a case that took place during Christmas Day, and the disappearance happened on Christmas Day, but we actually have to go back to October of the year 1996 because that is when the case actually began. So in October 1996, Patty Vaughan, who is a 32-year-old woman who was mother of 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl, filed for a trial separation from her husband of 11 years, Jerry Ray Vaughan, or J.R. Vaughan. They've been together for, almost 12 years, and to get a trial separation. And when this happened, their arrangement was that she would stay in the home that they had all shared all those years with the kids in Lavernia, Texas, and the husband, J.R., would actually go in to stay in an apartment in another town nearby. J.R., by all accounts, was a very controlling husband. He had never wanted her to get a job, and when she did, in the last phases of their marriage, he would actually call every 2 hours to check up on her and her work. Reports have been filed, but her co-workers claim that sometimes she would show up at work with bruises on her arms or injuries on her hands, like defensive wounds. So by all means, he was not an ideal husband, and it said that they had a lot of arguments, that they really fought a lot, and that they were not happy. So obviously this was very brave of her, because I mean she wanted to be independent, so she got a job. She asked for the trial separation, which I think that for her would end up in divorce, even though it was something very strange for her to do, and even though it was going to ostracize her a lot from her community, because they were very Christian. They were people who went to church every day, and as you guys know, for Christianity, divorce is not something that I think they probably go to hell if you do that. Like, divorce or separation from a spouse is really, really frowned upon, and if not, like, illegal by God's law. I mean, they say that what God has united, men cannot break, or whatever. So you know, they were just kind of, she must have felt really ostracized, and this was very brave of her, because also after her separation with JR, she started dating a man called Gary, who had been a former boyfriend of hers. Apparently they had never gotten over each other, and they just got back together after things ended with JR, and things were going really well with him, so much so that she took him to meet her family on Christmas Day, on Christmas Eve dinner. He invited him, and he went over to her relative's home. He met children, and I mean, obviously the bar was not set that high. I mean, obviously if someone hits your daughter and she dumps him, then the following guy that shows up and doesn't hit your daughter is gonna be Prince Charming. I'm not saying that Gary wasn't, I've never met him. I just am thinking that by her family standards, he must have been a welcome change. They spent Christmas Eve together, and JR had scheduled a visit with the children on Christmas Day, and he was going to go to Patty's house, spend Christmas Day with them, and then Patty was going to take them to her cousin's home for Christmas dinner. She never arrived to Christmas dinner. spoiler alert, she was never seen at the Christmas dinner because she just failed to turn up. Now, the last person who had ever spoken to Patty was her sister, and she called on Christmas Day, and she heard some shouting and some arguments, and she thought that she heard Patty crying and said no, that she just had a cold. She wasn't, she just heard her stuffy nose, and she said, oh, I have a cold, I'm not crying. But it was pretty much kind of evident that there had been an argument between her and JR. So later, JR would go on to say that they were having an argument over Gary and that over her relationship, her new relationship with Gary. And he would say that he had called his sister Marilyn to pick up the kids and that she didn't see Patty because Patty was too upset to come out of the bedroom. So she just took the kids to a relative's home. Afterwards, JR and Patty had a fight, another argument, and at 6:30 p.m. she stormed out of the house, got into her van, and was never seen again. This is what JR claimed happened. I don't know. The following day, on December 26th, Patty's boss found her van abandoned by the side of a highway on a road. And he obviously noticed that not only had she not gone to work that day, but her van was lying there on the side of the road, and it is reported that it had not been there in the morning. It was a highway that a lot of people passed through to get to work, and neither not her boss nor anybody who worked with her had actually seen the van on their way to work, and this happened at 1:30 p.m. So it obviously had not been there when they went to work. So it had obviously been placed afterwards. When they found the van, they called the police, and the police got there and started doing some forensic tests. And what they found were definite traces of blood in the van, and along with a red workman's jumpsuit with the initials JM on it. But no one close to the investigation has those initials, so they don't know who it belongs to. And what they also found in the van, was that the carpet had been recently shampooed, like it had just been cleaned. And they also found, when they searched the house, they found traces of blood in a bathroom and in a mop inside a bucket that had apparently been used to clean something, and they had found traces of blood there too. All of this blood apparently belonged to Patty. And what was also kind of strange was that they allowed Marilyn, who was JR's sister, and JR to stay in the house while they did the testing of the house, which is just a little weird. I mean, why? Why would you let them stay there? And it has also been reported that Marilyn kind of got in the way of them doing a lot of tests. So they really were not able to do a thorough job of it. And now, here comes also the really weird, crazy part, and why they think that JR is a suspicious character, to say the least, is that he filed for divorce on December 26th. He filed for divorce from Patty on December 26th, so right the following day after she disappeared. So by all the things that he said, they had an argument, she stormed out, she was never seen again, and he asked for divorce on December 26th. And he didn't even report her missing. I mean, okay. And also, if you have to wonder, JR had told the landlord of the building that he was living in that by the end of December he was going to be out of that apartment. So there is this theory, because they found that the van, which is something I forgot to say, is that they found the van with a flat tire, and apparently the flat tire had not been because of a puncture in the tire, it had been intentionally deflated. So they think that what JR did was have an argument with Patty over the boyfriend Gary. He apparently just wanted to get back together with her, and he thought that this was going to be happening on Christmas Day when they saw each other for the visit. She was very happy with Gary, so she said, no, this is not happening. He got upset, he killed her, called his sister Marilyn to help him cover up the murder, clean everything. He disposed of the body somehow, took the van to the side of the highway, deflated the tire, so it would look like she had a flat tire and she had to pull over by the side of the highway and someone had abducted her. And apparently this is what JR tried to make it seem as if it had happened, but all the things that he cleaned and all of those things were just kind of a big mess in the investigation. Harry was never a suspect because he was really helpful in the search efforts, and he really tried to do his best and help. JR, not really. I mean, he didn't allow the forensic team to get blood or DNA samples from his children or himself, and he only said yes when he had no choice because they took a warrant and he just had to. He didn't distribute any flyers. He really didn't do anything when she went missing. Her mom, Patty's mom, said that she went over there to his house one day and left some flyers for him and the children to distribute of Patty missing. And when she went back there the following week, they were exactly on the same spot that she had left them the previous week. So he just wasn't really doing anything to help look for her. Apparently 2 months after she went missing, Patty's mom showed up at JR's house and she had a baseball bat and she assaulted him with it, which is kind of understandable. I mean, if you think that someone killed your daughter, I think that I would probably have done the same thing too. I would have tried to hurt them in a way. I'm just, you know. I don't think she got any jail time for it. I think that they probably gave her some community service. I mean, what can you do? A woman just lost her child. It's worth mentioning also that in 2012, they made some DNA tests again, and apparently they found that in the van there was some DNA that did not belong to Patty, and it is supposedly, it's set to belong to Marilyn. So there you definitely think that she tried to cover up the murder and she helped him. After that, JR moved. He remarried and moved out of Texas, relocated with his children, and the children never saw Patty's side of the family again. So it was just tragic. They lost their child, they lost their grandchildren. I mean, the kids are in their 30s, I think, now, so if they wanted to, they probably could get in touch. But it's really hard to say what they've been told or what they think happened to her family, to their mom. Definitely JR had something to do with this. I'm pretty sure. I mean, there was no other suspect and no one who had any other motive, and who also had a history of being violent towards her. JR was working as a contractor around December 1996 at a primary school, and he apparently called the people who were working there, the crew, the workmen, in the middle of the night during Christmas break when they were not supposed to be working, so obviously it was kind of strange, and asked them to pour concrete inside the building urgently. So they think that that's where he could have hidden the body, and apparently Patty's family hired a company, and they did some sonar testing, and they found there were some anomalies in the building, but they were not allowed to search further. So they thought that he had hid her body inside the concrete, so that's why it had never been found and there were no traces of her. But apparently a few years ago, they also found that the concrete had been poured 4 days before Patty disappeared, so it was impossible that he had hid the body in there. And that's all that we know about her. That's all. Nobody knows. Nobody has heard anything from her again. JR is the main suspect. I think my money is on him. I don't know. Why don't you guys tell me what you think? This is it for today. This is a really tragic case. So yeah, please feel free to share with me your thoughts and theories. I will see you next time. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more true crime videos. And yeah, that's gonna be it. See you next time, guys. Bye.